Hello everyone, Nathan here with another Minetest modding tutorial. This week, we are going to be looking at Active Block Modifiers, or as they're more commonly referred to, ABMs. Now, we will be creating the ABMs in a file of their own, so again, we're gonna follow with our convention here of using the init Lua file that we then call out the other files in. We're just going to call this one ABM Lua, and then we'll close it off. So just added the new line there, so we'll save this. And then we'll create a new file, and I'm going to save as new mod, and we're going to call it ABM. Oops. ABM.lua. Okay, so let's get to work here. Minetest.register_ABM. And then, of course, as everything always works, you have a parenthesis and then the squarely brace. We start with a node name, and actually it says node names, and this is going to be the node that we're kind of basing the action off of. So we're going to use default dirt with grass because we already messed that up anyways in a previous tutorial and killed all the grass on it. So that's pretty much, well, I'll explain it all once we get this all typed out. We have an interval. This pretty much defines how often in seconds whatever we're going to have happen happens. So every 2 seconds this thing is going to happen. Chance, of course, is how likely it is it's going to happen. Higher, of course, means it's more likely. 100% means it will. 1% means there's a 1 in 100 chance that it will. And then we get to define the action. Now we get into functions. And you're probably going, functions? I don't know anything about functions. I remember those from, like, math. Those weren't fun. Yeah, it's not that bad. In this case, we just have a function, POS, which stands for position. And I should probably have a space. It'll still run without having the space there, but I like to leave spaces around my equal signs. We indent this, and then we, of course, have to write our function, which is a simple add node. The function takes place at the position, so again, we call the position, and then a curly brace. Give it name, and then parenthesize what we're going to be changing here. So we have cube. I don't know why that parenthesis or that quote got in there. I don't know where that came from. I'm guessing that means someplace I'm missing one, but we'll find out here. Do not need a comma at the end of that because it's just going to end. This is a because it's a function, all functions have to end with an end. Otherwise, the engine will throw up an error. And then, of course, we close everything out with curly brace and the parentheses. So basically what we have here, we have the node name of default dirt with grass. So every default dirt with grass, every 2 seconds, there is a 100% chance that this action will happen. The action is a function based on the position. And we're going to add a node in its position, and the name of the new node will be new mod dirt cube. So basically, every 2 seconds, there's a 100% chance that the default dirt with grass will be replaced with dirt cubes. So let's save this, launch the game up, and having it at such a high percentage, it's pretty much gonna destroy everything. So I'm not gonna leave the game running too long. There you can see it's all getting speckly already. Over here it's pretty bad already. And yeah, it'll just keep running until all your dirt becomes those tan cubes. So we're going to close that right away because I don't want that happening. And we're going to lower this chance to like 1. So that's one example. This would be a, I should move my mouse so you can see a replacement ABM. In this case, you actually are replacing one block with another block. There's a different style that we can do, though. And actually, it'd be easier if we just copy and paste this all. And this would be an addition ABM. Let's use the same node we're going to base it off of. Interval, let's leave it at 2. Let's put this back up to 100%. The action is still going to be a function based on the position, but this time we're going to put a change in. Position.y equals position.y plus 1. Now, if you're wondering what in the world does that mean? Well, your position is based of 3 letters, x, y, and z. X and z are forward and backward, left, right values. Y is the up and down value. A little different than some 3 packages use. For example, Blender, which I use for making models for stuff. Z is your up and down. It's a little bit different. Really doesn't make any difference as long as you know what your values are. So in this case, 1 block above default dirt with grass, we will be adding our node. Don't want to be putting the new mod dirt cube down though. I think this time we will put down the little monkey head that we made in like episode 2, I think. So above the default dirt with grass, we'll be putting down little monkey heads. So we'll save that and we'll play. And whoa. Suddenly most of the world turned to tan blocks and we have monkey heads popping up. Monkey heads are only going to appear on the dirt, which looks like we just completely eliminated. Probably because I'm an idiot and I did this wrong. Chance of 1, interval of 2. What? Chance of 1. That should have meant there was only 1 chance that would happen. Let me pause the video, and I will figure out what I did wrong here, and then I'll be right back and let you guys know how to fix it. Alright, so my apologies. I am an idiot. Chance is actually the exact opposite of what I said. It's not a percentage-based thing. It's a ratio-based thing. Chance of 1 means 1 in 1 will change, which is pretty much 100%. So 100 is actually lesser of a chance. So we would want to increase this number. The higher this number is, the less often it will happen. Now, of course, because we just killed all of our dirt with grass and turned into dirt cubes, I'm going to flip these 2 backwards. And we can see some default dirt with grass come back into the game. So we'll save that. Play this. And I feel like this is the wrong world I just started. No, this is the right one. I think. I feel like there should be some chests and barrels sitting out someplace. Oh, there's tons of dirt here. Oh, I should mention, ABMs only run in a certain radii of view. So, they do not affect the entire generated map. Because obviously that would require a lot of computational power. There we go, the barrel and the furnace. Barrel is something I made in my off time. Did not record a video about it. That's going to be in the survival series Minetest mod that we do. So you'll be seeing how to make that. Come on, let's get some of this tan stuff turned back into dirt. Maybe a chance of 1,000 was a little low. Let's put it to 10, just so we can see it happening. And actually, let's change the Suzanne one here to go off of the dirt cubes, because that's what the world is mostly comprised of right now. Let me should start to see some dirt coming back. And we should have a few more Suzannes popping up in here. Dirt King. Oh! Yeah, it might help if... I was like, nothing's changing. What's going on? I forgot. These need to get switched around too. Again, the engine will not throw up an error if you're trying to... Well, it will. It'll throw up errors in the log, but it's nothing that you'll see on screen. So in this case, yeah, I had the wrong node types. Something must be buggy on my end, because this all should not have changed that quickly. That's just way too fast. Now, let's swap these two around one more time. And I should really learn how to spell. Put this in parentheses again. Default dirt with grass. And this one, whoops. This one should be new mod dirt cube. And this one then should be default dirt with grass. Interval 2, every 2 seconds it happens. 1 in 10 will change. So let's put that back up to 100. Save that. Play. Okay, there we go. So it's happening pretty quick. If we change that to 1,000, you never really seem to notice anything happening. Which, honestly, might be what you want. But there's a better way to do this. Rather than putting your chances to a numerical value where it's unlikely it'll happen, like I just did, we can change how often it runs. So instead of calling it every 2 seconds, we can call it every 30 seconds, put that back to 1/100th of a chance it'll happen, and I think we would just multiply those two out, so it'd be 2,000, now it's 30,000. So this is actually a less of a chance, or 3,000 rather, 3,000 and 2,000. So it's less of a chance, but it'll put less draw on the computer. Because instead of this replacement being run every 2 seconds, the computer's only checking every 30 seconds and running this ABM. So it saves on computer load, makes the game run faster, more efficiently. Everybody likes it when the game runs faster. You don't want lag, you don't want slow, you don't want jerky. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's my fans on my laptop running. I can actually show you right here. Now, of course, this does, you do have to factor in the fact that I am recording my screen, so that's using some processing power too. But over on the right hand side there, you can see that Minetest is running at 23% power, screen recorder is running at 29. We're going for a total of 78. Fans keep kicking in, and you'll notice we're getting a little peaking going on in there. That peaking is not necessarily due to the ABMs, because I am walking around here, so it's forcing new map to be generated. It's putting a load on the graphics, which theoretically that should all be taken care of by my graphics card, which isn't represented in that. But let's see if we can, and this is going to probably destroy the world. So we're going to change our interval to 1 on each of these, put it to 1/100th of a chance. So every second now, it's going to be running this ABM. So we're going to see a lot more little Suzanne heads popping out here. And the dirt's going to be changing faster than it was before. And as you notice now, CPU is running at 93%. Oh, that went down to 84. Of course, keep in mind that as it's changing this stuff, you know, and it's turning the one into the other, it stops having as much material to process. But yeah, then you get something that looks like this, where your entire world is pretty much laid waste. Yeah, so be careful with ABMs. Test them out on a world that is disposable. Don't be like, oh yeah, I've got this game going. You can't undo an ABM. I mean, as you saw, I kind of flipped mine backwards to do stuff. Now, technically speaking, I think you can remove. I think you can remove nodes with ABMs. I will link to the page on the wiki for this, because you pretty much are. Your action is just calling a function. You could theoretically write your own functions if you wanted. You don't have to do something simple like adding nodes or replacing nodes. You can remove nodes, do different calls. I think you can probably do audio in here. So I'll link to the wiki page where there's a little more information if you guys want to read that. But I think I pretty much covered this. Yeah, just keep your intervals as high as you can, and that'll cut down on the processing power that the computer is going to need to run this all. ABMs are unfortunately kind of resource intensive, so try and keep them to a minimum. Theoretically, you can probably also, like this, well, instead of the replacement, the addition one here, when you're putting the default dirt with grass down, or not, you're putting the grass down, you're putting down the Suzanne monkey heads. This is actually taken right from the default game, except for those two portions, and they're putting grass down using it. So if you like put plants in, bushes or something in your mod and you want to do it, I believe you can put multiple names into here and do like a percentage of a chance that it'll be that one that's called, and then you can pretty much use one ABM to spawn multiple different plants instead of calling one out for each. But I'm going to end it up here, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again next week.